we saw a few things about the opening passages of Savitri's yoga. Her yoga begins now. What a parable is, parable research to the soul. But what happens is, which is most important, which is actually the decisive thing. Savitri is in a deeply composed voice, and suddenly a mighty voice invades her. A mighty voice. Now, this voice is in contrast to the mortal voice. In other words, this is a voice which is coming from the immortal planes. It is the voice of the divine Savitri herself, telling human Savitri that she should now get ready to attend to her assigned mission. She has come with a mission, and she should prepare herself now to attend to that mission. That is why the mighty voice is suddenly invading Savitri, mortal Savitri, human Savitri. That is the contrast. In fact, he has told you already that the voice is the voice from the immortal Savitri by saying mortal space. And then what does that happen? When the voice, what happens with the coming of that voice? As the voice touched, her body became a stark and rigid golden statue of motionless trance. She becomes absolutely calm, like a stone itself. Statue, motionless trance. It is a trance which is a living trance, but it is not moving, immovable. And with that voice, a stone of God lit, Savitri becomes a stone of God, a statue. In other words, this statue of Savitri is a statue made of amethyst. It is made of amethyst, you see. Amethyst soul. It is a living statue, full of divine power in it, you see. It is not just some dumb, mute stone lying there, you see. And as I said last time, the quality of amethyst is that how much soever you drink from the amethyst cup, you don't get drunk. So all the spiritual power which you pour into the soul of Savitri, that soul will be able to hold, will be able to contain. It will carry on further. That is why amethyst soul, you see. Now, here, Tini has brought some samples of amethyst. This is natural amethyst. You see this white thing, that's the quartz, and the bluish thing there inside, purple bluish, that is the amethyst. Actually, basically, this is quartz itself, amethyst is a quartz itself with iron doping. Iron doping, you see. You can see it's a natural stone, you see, beautiful, you see. And then, of course, you have the samples of amethyst here, brought by her from her necklace. The lowly sample, you see. So she wears it and she doesn't get drunk at all, you see. You see? Yeah. See? And as I told you last time, amethyst is also the birthstone for the month of February. For the month of February. So it is kind of appropriate that it refers to the one who was born in February Obviously, in our context, the mother herself, and she wears amethyst stone. In fact, in the room, you can see some of these things there also. Then the voice invades her and in a kind of forceful manner asks Savitri, Savitri, you have not come here to grieve. You have a task to do. You cannot also walk away from this world. You have to attend to your duty, the mission for which you have taken this birth. Therefore, the voice tells Savitri, asks Savitri, why camest thou to this dumb, death-bound earth? Death-bound earth. What for you have come? Yes, this earth is a dumb earth. It cannot speak, it cannot express, dumb in the sense, it cannot express the divine qualities, the divine powers, the divine aspects here in this creation. In that sense, she is dumb. Is it for that purpose you have taken this birth? Why camest thou to this dumb, death-bound? Yes, this is what we are. We are all death-bound. Death-bound essentially means tied to death, and in Sanskrit, this word, this earth, is called Mrityu Loka, the world of death, Mrityu Loka. So you have come here in this Mrityu Loka, in this death-bound earth. For what purpose you have come? Now, last time I was telling you about this line. It can be scanned like this. Why came? That is responded. Why came? Is thou? Is thou? That is the Pyrrhic. Then again, to this, another Pyrrhic. Then death, dumb death. That is Pondi. Strong, dumb death. It is death bound. It is not death bound. It is death bound. The stress falls on the word death. Why camest thou to the dumb, death bound earth? That is how it will be read, you see. Death bound earth. Last is the I am, you see. This ignorant life beneath indifferent skies, tied like a sacrifice on the altar of time. Have you come for that purpose? That you are tied here to be sacrificed in this creation? Now, great souls had come earlier and they had to sacrifice themselves in this creation. Are you also one of them, that you will be sacrificed to achieve the mission of your life? Christ, he was sacrificed in a way, crucified in a way. Even Socrates, he had to drink a cup of poison, hemlock. He was sacrificed. Bruno, you know the story of Bruno. He was sacrificed on the altar of time, you see. Of course, Joan of Arc, Jeanne d'Arc, she was sacrificed, buried. Have you come one like that in this creation? Sacrifice on the altar of time. In the Veda, there is a allegorical reference to the sacrifice of one rishi, Sunashepa. His name is Sunashepa. He is tied to the sacrificial post with 3 cords, and then he was burnt. Now, this is a metaphorical, symbolic way of telling that it is not the physical sacrifice in that sense which he had done, but the 3 ropes by which he was tied to this post, the physical, the vital, the mental, he had to be free of them in order to receive the spiritual knowledge, in order to make spiritual progress. So that is the sacrifice. Have you come again here for that purpose? Why camest thou to the dumb, the bound earth? O Spirit, now, O immortal energy. This voice is telling the mortal Savitri, look, you have taken a mortal birth. You have certainly taken a mortal birth, but you are the immortal energy. You are the immortal force, the power, the Shakti. You have taken a mortal birth for a certain purpose here. It does not mean that because you have taken human birth, you have become a mortal energy. What you are holding is the immortal power within you. If it was to nurse grief in a helpless heart, this is what Savitri was doing earlier, or with hard, tearless eyes, awake thy doom. Is it for that purpose have you come? The voice is very stern and demanding a response from Savitri. Arise, O soul, and vanquish time and death. So that is the command. Arise, arise. That is the aim. O soul, and vanquish. Third aim. Wish time. Fourth aim. And death. Fifth aim. The perfect pentametric iambic line, iambic pentameter. Arise, O soul, and vanquish time and death. So the command is very clear. Savitri's task is to vanquish time and fate, time and death, Kala and Mrityu. She has to vanquish, she has to defeat. As I said last time, both time and death are immortal. They cannot be destroyed. They cannot be destroyed. They can be transformed into their true self, into their true being. And that is what is meant by vanquishing. They assumed a certain form, certain purpose, for a certain purpose, a shape, and they had to now change. That part, that role of theirs has to be now terminated. They must open out now to do things in a different manner. But Savitri is still not ready to immediately pick up the advice and do what the advice is telling to do. She is kind of revolting. She is stating her true condition. She says, but Savitri's heart replied in the dim night. Savitri is there with her husband, and all that thing is going on within her, within herself. Her husband is not aware of it, but she is awake inwardly all the while. And she replies to the voice. She complains to the voice that, look, what you are saying is perfectly all right, perhaps. But what about my state? My strength is taken away from me and given to death. What can I do? You want me to do this, but what can I do? I have no strength at all. In other words, she is telling, please give me back my strength. If you want me to vanquish time and death, that can happen only if I get back my strength. My strength is taken from me and given to death. Why should I lift my hand to the shut heavens? First thing is, my strength has been taken away. The second complaint is, why should I bother at all about this world? Why should I go and pray to heaven? What for? Heaven is indifferent. It doesn't care about this world. Why should I bother at all? If they are not concerned about this creation, all those gods and goddesses or whosoever they are, then why should I bother at all? Why should I lift my hand to the shut heaven? They are not responding at all. I have been pouring my oblations constantly, but there is no reciprocation. There is no response at all, answer at all. What do I do? Why should I then do anything at all? Why should I lift my hand to the shut heaven or struggle with mute, inevitable fate? So she is telling first, my strength is taken away. Second, she is saying she should not bother really about all these things because heavens are shut to all our prayers. They don't respond at all. Then what's the point in approaching heaven? You see. The third thing she is saying, why should I struggle? Really, when fate is decreed, nobody can change fate. It is fixed. Satyavan is to die. Nobody can stop that. Then, why should I struggle at all? That is the third argument she is putting. Or hope in vain to uplift an ignorant race. That is the fourth argument she is putting here. See, this world is not really interested in great things at all. They are happy in their own manner, in the routine things and all that thing. Then this ignorant race, let them remain as they are. Why should I care at all, you see? She sort of resigns. Or who hug their lot and mock the Savior light. Mock the Savior light. That is what the world is. When Christ was carrying the cross on his shoulders, he was jeered and cursed and mocked all along on the path. Here, he wants to save the world. He himself cannot save himself. He cannot save himself. That is the mocking, you see. And see in mind wisdom's sole tabernacle. Now, this is impossible. In mind, you cannot build a temple for wisdom. Mental being is a mental being. He is shut to higher other things at all, you see. Tabernacle, of course, that is a tent which was carried from place to place by the wandering Jews. And in that temple, they used to put their deities, that tent, they used to put their deities and worship. So it's like that. Wisdom's tent for worship is there. It's not just a fixed place. Tabernacle now we take as a fixed place. But in the tradition, it is the tent which was being carried from place to place by the Jews, you see. And see in mind wisdom's sole tabernacle, in its harsh peak and its inconscient base, a rock of safety and an anchor of sleep. Mind, race, human race, all these things, they are so much tied with inconscience that nothing could change at all. Nothing would change at all, you see. So she is listing out her practical difficulties. This is this, this is this, this is this. Why should I lift my hands to shut heavens? My strength has been taken away. Why should I attempt to raise this ignorant race at all? Fate cannot be changed. What can I do then? I had to just accept that, you see. People mock at the Savior light because everything is tied to His creation. In other words, in the context of vanquished time and death, Savitri is tracing the difficulty through all these enumerations to the inconscient base. Everything is founded on inconscience. If I had to struggle against time and death, it means that I must tackle the place from where they are born. I must go and do something there at the inconscient base. She is linking up all her difficulties to the presence of inconscience in this creation. What can I do? I am not yet ready for that. This is a task perhaps much bigger than the task of vanquishing time and death. Time and death has sprung up from inconscience. So even if I might remove, vanquish time and death, inconscience still remains there. I have to really do something at that place, at that location, at the inconscient base. So she is pinning down the real problem to the presence of all the difficulties in the inconscience. Savitri. And then she says, "Ye there a God whom in a cry can move." She is very blunt. See, I have been weeping, crying, shedding tears, but nobody is responding at all, you see. The voice does not reach. If there is a God, to God, if there is a God at all, it will. He sits in peace and lives in the mortal strength, impotent against his calm, omnipotent law, and in conscience and the almighty hands of death. Again she is putting down his omnipotent law, impotent against his calm, omnipotent law. Here we could read the reference to the Sanskrit word which is pertinent to this context, yama. Yama, death. Yama means law. He is omnipotent. And my strength, mortal strength, is impotent against it, against the law of death. Death is the ordainer of this mortal world. He holds the entire mortal world according to his law, runs it. And in conscience and the almighty, she says again, almighty hands of death, you see. So the problem is really pinned down to the very foundation of things itself. It is all springing up from inconscience. You might do a few things here and there and all that thing, but they are all superficialities. They are not really going to solve the true problem. So Savitri, indirectly, while she is listing all the difficulties, he is telling it, look, if you want me to accomplish the mission for which I have come, if you want me to do that thing, then you have to give me a strength to fight against all the springs from inconscience. I want that strength. It is not perhaps sufficient for me to only fight against time and death. It's not sufficient. It's okay, but the real problem will be to go deeper down from where they are born, from where they are coming. And then suddenly she reminds the mighty voice, what need have I? What need has Satyavan? To avoid the black meshed net, the dismal door, or call a mightier light into life's closed room, a greater law into man's little world. Yes, as far as I am concerned, I don't need anything at all. As far as Satyavan is concerned, he also doesn't need anything at all for himself. So she knows who Satyavan is, what he is standing for. She recognizes their avatarhood. They are coming from the divine himself directly. She recognizes that. And therefore she said, I don't need anything. After all, I am divine. What else I need? I don't need it all, you see. What need have I? Same way, what need has Satyavan, you see. Everything is there. All the joys, pleasures, happiness, delight, beauty, love, sweetness, everything is there. So I don't need for myself. In other words, she says, if at all I need something, I need for the world, for this creation. And she is asking then, look, can you help me for that? I want strength to fight. I want help so that the world gets whatever I get through me for its benefit, for its growth, for its prosperity. A greater law into man's little world. Greater law, the law of truth. Not the law of death, but the law of the immortality, of truth. Dhritasya. Rutam, that is the proper word. Rutam, that is the dynamic aspect of truth. Rutam. It is that rhythm which should get established here. Where? In man's little world. It is the divine law, the law of rhythm, the divine dynamism. It is that, not truth in the static manner of form, but dynamic truth. So Satyam is the static truth, rhythm is the dynamic truth. So it is that which must come here and take possession of man's little world. And she elaborates, why should I strive with earth's unyielding laws or stave off death's inevitable hour? She says, I don't need it at all. What for? Stave off, put away death's inevitable hour. I cannot stop nothing at all, you see. She says very clearly, this surely is best to pact ties with my fate, to pact ties with my fate. So, she says to make a pact, to make a pact. He is using word pact as a verb. It's not practice, practice. This surely is best to practice with my fate. So okay, let me make a pact with fate. Let me accept what it is, you see. And follow close behind my lover's steps. She is again saying, look, I am willing to go after him. I might even go as Sati. She is insisting on that also. If he has to go, well, I also follow that. And follow close behind my lover's steps and pass through night from twilight to the sun. And pass to night from twilight to the sun. Well, she is already anticipating what is going to happen in books 9, 10 and 11. Passing through the night, passing through twilight worlds, book 10 through night, book 9 to the sun, book 11. This surely is best to practice with my fate. So let me engage myself with fate and then follow what is going to happen. In fact, that is exactly what is going to happen when Satyavan dies, because fate is inevitable. So Savitri is going to follow the spirit of Satyavan wherever he is being taken. In his steps, the procession is the spirit of Satyavan, behind him is death, and behind them is Savitri. And she is putting her feet exactly at the place where Satyavan had put his feet. That is the procession which goes across the tenebrous now, and follow close behind my lover's steps, and pass through night from night to sun, across the tenebrous river that divides the adjoining parishes of earth and heaven. Tenebrous river, dark river. Now, of course, the reference is very clear. In the Indian literature, this tenebrous river is named as Vaitarini, Vaitarini, Vaitarini. So when the soul departs from this world, then it has to cross this river and then go beyond. Then, depending upon his merit, he goes to the world of death or he goes to hell, whatever it is. Vaitarini. Now this Vaitarini is again very suggestive. The etymology itself tells what that river is. Vai means truth. Vai means truth. Tarini, who saves you. You cross the difficulty, cross the hurdle, cross the river of difficulty. Go across from here to this one. So it is the sort of truth river by which you cross into other world. That is what Vaitarini is. But at the same time, depending upon the soul, for a certain time after the death, it may have to stay, depending upon its consciousness, in different places. Vital, mental, whatever you say, stays there and then takes the birth. It is after long passage that the psychic being becomes free and goes to the psychic world for a while, to the world soul, takes rest there, assimilates all the experiences of life, becomes ready now to take another birth. So, while going to the psychic world, it has shed off all the other things. The entire baggage has to be shed off and then goes in. Only all that which has become psychicized, that remains with the psychic being. If your mental faculties have become psychicized, if your vital faculties have become psychicized, even the physical, the subtle physical, if the psychic element has entered in them, is governing them, then that becomes a part of the psychic world and it remains with him permanently and goes from life to life. So that is your permanent possession. The rest is sent back to the cosmic zones, you see. Across the tenebrous river that divides. Now this tenebrous river in Greek, of course, you know it is Styx, you see. Styx, you see. So that is the river which will lead you to Hades from that. In fact, there are 6 rivers, no? Styx, Lethe, Cocytus, Acheron, Phlegethon. 1, 2, 3, 5 rivers, you see. Now, according to the Greek mythology, Stux is hate. The name is hate. Lethe, oblivion. Cocytus, lamentation. Acheron, pain, ache, pain. And Phlegethon, fire, burning, volcanic. See. So through those rivers you have to pass. But basically it is Stux. Now, the ferryman who takes the dead soul across this river is Chiron, Chiron, Chiron. And the tradition is that when a person is dead, they put a small coin in his mouth. That coin, obol, of the smallest denomination in Greek money system. Obol is the smallest coin, you see. So that is put in the mouth of the dead person, and that is the fare the dead man has to pay to this ferryman while crossing this river. Now this fellow, he is happy to pick up one obol, see, because he knows that a lot of people will keep on doing, and he will keep on getting money. So even if it is a point of no value, he makes enough for his living, you see. Obol. Now, obol also is the word for zero in Greek. It means coin of zero value, you see, basically, obol. You see. Void, zero, you see. So it is that is paid to the ferryman. And that is what Savitri is referring to here about the tenebrous river she has to cross. Now, Savitri knows about all these things, about all these awful things already. Savitri is aware that after death this happens, that happens, she is kind of aware of all these things. Because it is not by her personal knowledge. The traditional knowledge is so rich that it has become a part of your makeup. We are talking about style. It's not that we have experienced them. From knowledge we are talking about these things. See. So Savitri is talking in that sense, intimately, with a voice which is advising Savitri. Then, so she says that, look, I will go along with him, cross the river, and be always one with my husband. Then could we lie in arms, breast upon breast. Untroubled by thought, because there is no thought there now. Untroubled by our hearts, untroubled by thought. At the moment, Savitri is troubled by thought. And the greatest trouble at the moment for her is Satyavan is to die. That thought itself is troubling her. Same way her heart is feeling the grief of the death, untroubled by the present condition of us. Forgetting man and life and time and hours. Yes, everything will be forgotten once I cross that river, you see. Forgetting eternity's call, forgetting God. Who is God? What is call? I will go and live in Stux, tenebrous river, oblivion. It means oblivion. Across the tenebrous river that divides the adjoining parishes of earth and heaven. Then could we lie in arms, breast upon breast, untroubled with thought. At the moment she is not in that state. She is very troubled, untroubled by her heart. She is at the moment, she is very troubled. Although they are living together, Satyavan and Savitri, but Savitri is always very troubled. Satyavan does not have any idea of what is going to happen. So he is not really troubled in that sense. You see, he is oblivious of all those things happening. Forgetting eternity's call, but Savitri is aware of it. Forgetting God, the voice replied. The divine Savitri asked Savitri, is this enough? O Spirit, what you are telling me, is that enough? Is that all right? You should reconsider your arguments. Is this enough? O Spirit. Now this is a very complex kind of a line. The voice replied, is this enough? O Spirit. It depends upon how you want to read it. The voice, that is an I am. The voice, short long, replied, that is also an I am. So two I ams are clear. But these three feet here depends on how you want to pronounce them, how you want to emphasize things there. Is this enough? Or is this enough? See, it depends upon that. Is this enough? I think the natural thing will be, is this? The stress falling on is this enough? Or you want to put it on this, is this enough? No, that will sound a little harsh. You would prefer that. Is this enough? Now, enough also, is this, well, now this can be basically seen in three ways. Is this, short, is this enough? Short, long. O Spirit. Again, O Spirit, again, it can be O Spirit or O Spirit. You see. It depends on how you want to pronounce, how you want to emphasize it. You see. The meter allows all those possibilities, you see. But I would prefer the voice reply, is this enough? I will put the stress on enough, in. Is it enough? Not enough. Is it enough? O Spirit, O Spirit. O is not really stressed, but this is stressed. O Spirit. So metrically, this is a very complex structure, these 3 feet particularly. And what shall thy soul say when it wakes and knows the work was left undone for which it came? Is this what is going to be recorded in the logbook of your life? And what shall thy soul say when it wakes? Now this is important again. What Savitri is telling, the way she is arguing, the voice knows that it is not her soul, but her outer personality which is speaking. When your soul awake and knows, it won't speak like that, what you're telling me here. The full aspect of human Savitri is what is being emphasized here. Savitri has to first awake to her soul. Her soul won't speak the way Savitri is presently speaking. And that the voice knows. That the voice knows. And what shall thy soul say when it wakes and knows the work was left undone for which it came? Is this what is going to be recorded? Or is this all for thy being born on earth? What you are telling me, is it all that for go away and lie somewhere else, breast upon breast with your husband? Is that all? charged with a mandate from eternity. Now the voice is telling Savitri, look, Savitri, you have come with a mandate. Mandate straight from the Supreme. What is the mandate? What is Savitri supposed to achieve? The mandate is vanquish time and death. You have taken birth for that specific purpose. You have forgotten that. Your soul is not yet awake to that mission of yours. It's not yet awake, you see. Charge them, you have come with the charge. In other words, charge, you have taken this birth. Yes, all these problems are there, all the difficulties are there, fate is there, time is there, death is there. But then you are also charged. You have come with necessary power to tackle them. You are charged. You have been equipped to deal with them. Charged with a mandate from eternity, a listener to the voices of the ear, a follower of the footprints of the gong, to pass and leave unchanged the old dusty laws. Is it for that purpose you have come? Dusty laws. Will things go on and on the way they have been going on and on? The sun has been rising every day in the morning in the east and sets in the west in the evening, day after day. Can that be changed? They were announced, yes. Yes, it can be. You have come with a mandate. You have come with a mandate to bring eternal day. To bring eternal day. Shall be there no new tables, no new word command, power of expression. The dumb, mute earth. There is a divine word also. No greater light come down upon the earth. Greater light come down upon the earth. So the voice is telling, look, because we have been stupid all along, so we shall remain stupid. Is that your argument? Can that not be changed? Can it not rise to your wisdom? You have been dying all along. Does it mean that you will keep on dying? Should that remain always so? Can the laws not be changed? No greater light come down upon earth. In other words, rhetorically, the question is, yes, greater light will come upon earth. The answer to the rhetorical question is, greater light shall come down upon earth. It's a rhetorical question, asserting the yes or the answer, you see. Greater light come down upon the earth, and indeed, the greater light has come down upon the earth on 29th February 1956. Greater light has come down upon earth. For what? Delivering her from her unconsciousness, man's spirit from unalterable fate. That greater light will change this thing. Unconsciousness will become consciousness. Fate will be changed. There will be no more fate in that sense. That is what the greater light will achieve. That is what the greater light will. Camest thou not down to open the doors of fate? Again, a rhetorical question. Yes, you have come here to open the doors of fate. I saw a golden door and took a golden hammer in my hand and in one stroke smashed the door and it broke into pieces. Open the doors of fate. That is what happened. The iron doors, the saint forever closed, seem, now they are no more the same, and lead man to truth's wide and golden road, Hiranyapatha, Hiranya Patha road that runs through, it is not sunlit road, it is the Hiranyapatha that runs through finite things to eternity. So the voice is very clear what Savitri is to do, what is the mandate, with what she is charged here. Is this then the report that I must make? My head bowed with shame before the eternal seat. This is like a Christian angel approaching the father and telling, look, this is what has happened, what can I do? See? Is this the report that I must make? Now he says, is this the report I must make? Now, last time we saw why this voice should be speaking in this manner. See, when Savitri is in that meditative mood, state, what does she see? A voice broke from the immortal space on her forehead center, where will and knowledge meet. Where will and knowledge meet. Now, this will and knowledge gives us a clue from where that voice is coming, from what place, from what location that voice is coming. And last time I was telling you that it is the supramental Mahashakti who is invading Savitri's mortal space, supramental Mahashakti who is invading Savitri's mortal space. The supramental Mahashakti, beyond that, above that, there are higher and higher, greater powers of Mahashakti, the transcendental Mahashakti. So, this Mahashakti is going to report to them who are beyond her. Is this then the report I must make? My head bowed with, see, she has to go beyond that Mahashakti to the Supreme Himself and report back to Him, look, I went to this earth, but this poor girl, she is not doing anything what she should do and all that. She is proving a failure. Is this the kind of report I should go and make? See? My head bowed shame before the eternal scene. His power He kindled in thy body has failed. His laborer returns, her task undone. Her task undone. Savitri was speaking of crossing the tenebrous river and forgetting about everything, no? So in response to that, this voice telling, His power He kindled in thy body has failed. His laborer returned, her task undone. This is a very deep line. In fact, we can keep on making all kind of foolish guesses about this. His power He kindled in thy body has failed. 17th November. Had that power in her body failed? Has she gone back? Her task undone. Say we can simply make foolish guesses. His power he kindled in thy bodies as well. In fact, that is what was happening. Her cells were responding. Her cells were responding to the divine power, the divine presence. His laborer returned. Yes, the mother was really a laborer, doing the most difficult work of physical transformation. Has she gone back with her work undone? If it is yes, that she has gone back, her work undone, then that is a much bigger commentary on Sri Aurobindo himself. It is she who is going to fulfill his yogic work. If she has failed to fulfill his yogic work, it means that he has failed. It means that he has failed. Is that true? That she has gone back, her task undone. If she has gone back, then it means that Sri Aurobindo's work is a failure. If at all you want to say, it is a half-done work. But no, she has not gone back, her task undone. Because Savitri, rather in the case of the mother, she finally said, Lord, whatever you want, succor to will, whatever thou willest. Now, she has surrendered herself completely, totally to the will of the Lord. Now, what greater achievement can there be than that? That even the physical has offered itself to the will of the Lord. So it is not her responsibility. If she has gone back, her task undone, it is he who has failed, not she. The Supreme himself has failed, because she has left it to him. Do whatever you want. I am totally here for your work. If you don't want me to do it, okay, I am ready to go. Whatever you want. It is your concern, your business, or whatever you want to call it, in that case. But we are seeing things in sections of time, in segments of consciousness. In the totality of things, we have no understanding, no grasp of things at all, you see, what really is happening in the occult. In fact, what has really happened is her task undone. She is very appropriate. It is coming on 15th November, day after tomorrow, Mother's, you see. It is very appropriate in the sense that her work is not undone, is going on. It is our difficulty, our illusion, our limitation, not to be able to see the work she is doing. The work she is doing. What has really happened in the physical world, in the physical manner of speaking, she has simply changed her station from the physical, she has entered into the subtle physical. And she is there, carrying on the work. And as the mother says, in great detail the amount of work Sri Aurobindo had done after his withdrawal on 5th December 1950. I will say the same way. After her withdrawal, she is doing perhaps much greater work. The limitations of the physical have been surpassed. She has now full freedom. Now it's only a question of that thing getting materialized on the physical plane, for which we are impatient. But who cares about the patience or impatience of ignorant people? The work is going on, you see. Then Savitri's heart fell mute. He spoke no word. That is the power of that voice. Then Savitri's heart fell mute. He spoke no word. There was no necessity of speaking. What can she speak? But holding back her troubled, rebel heart, see, human Savitri, abrupt, erect and strong, calm like a hill. You see, that is the quality of Savitri, calm like a hill, surmounting the seas of mortal ignorance. She is able to rise above ignorance. Its peak immutable above mind's air. So she has crossed the mental world beyond mind. And from there, she is responding to the voice. A power within her answered the still voice. Human Savitri is now in the background. The divine power which is always there behind human Savitri, it is that power now which is responding to the divine Savitri's voice. You have to understand three Savitris. Three Savitri. The divine Savitri, the Savitri which is there within her, that power, within her soul, and the human Savitri. So it is that Savitri within her, she is responding. A power within her answered. It is not human Savitri who is answering now. A power within her answered the still voice. And she says, I am thy portion here, charged with thy work. Yes, I am a part of you. That divine Savitri which is there within the soul of Savitri, it is that is responding to the divine Savitri. Look, after all, I am a part of you. I am immortal like you, but seated here. A part. I am the portion. Now this portion, that is what the Gita says. My ansha. Mamai ansha. That is the phrase the Gita uses. Mamai. You are my portion. I am thy portion here, charged with thy work, as thou myself seated forever above. So you are really seated above. You are myself, but seated above, in the transcendent. In the transcendent, above. Speak to my depths, O great and deathless voice. Command, for I am here to do thy will. Now it is not human Savitri who is responding, but the divine Savitri who is in the soul of Savitri. She is coming forward and telling, yes, give me adesh, give me command. I will do what you want me to do. Command, for I am here to do thy will. Now she is emphasizing will. She doesn't say for your wish. You see, obviously. What you want me to do, your sankalpa will in Sanskrit means sankalpa. Whatever sankalpa you have made, whatever you have willed, let that be done. Now here we have got the most beautiful description of the response which Savitri is getting. The voice replied, the same phrase which you have seen earlier also, no? Is this enough? No, in that line. The voice replied, is this enough, O Spirit? The voice replied, remember why thou camest. That is the first thing Savitri should recognize. Yes, you have taken a human birth, but for what purpose? Recover that knowledge. Get back to that knowledge first. Remember. See again here this line is simple in scansion. Because the voice, of course, replied to I am, remember. Third I am. Then, but why? I would put emphasis on why here. Why thou camest? See, now there is something very beautiful about the technical aspect of it. Here we have why camest. That makes camest 2 syllables metrically. But here we have camest. Metrically, it's demand. See, if you write, if you see here, remember why thou camest. See, it becomes very weak. If you say here camest, it becomes very weak, you see. So the poet as an artist, literary artist, is very careful about all the small little details, you see. That is the greatness of Savitri's art. Remember why thou camest. The full force is put there now, you see. Find out now. So the first instruction given by the voice to Savitri is, first remember what for you have come. First step. Second step is find out thy soul. That is second step. The third step is recover thy hid self. First remember why you have come, find out your soul, then recover your lost self, what you are here. And then seek God's meaning. That is the next thing Savitri has to do. What for all this creation? What for this purpose, this whole business here? Death, mrityu, fate, time, all things for what? Remember in your depth. Try to understand that in your depth. What functions they are playing here. Then mortal nature change to divine. She is already speaking that then only Savitri can really become divine. So if you want to become divine, you have to first remember why you have come. You have to find out your soul. You have to recover yourself. You have to seek God's meaning. Then possibly you can change your nature into divine nature. So the steps are very clear. Open God's door. After that, then open out God's doors. Enter into His trance. He is there always in His trance. Mukta Samadhi, always there, you see. See here, let me remind you one thing. Savitri says here, He sits in peace. Remember this again. Now he sits in peace and lives the mortal strength. I don't know if you heard of Robert Browning's Pippa's song. You heard of Pippa's song? Okay. Robert Browning's Pippa's song. Now, what he says here is, uh, Pippa is the name of a girl, and she was maltreated by her employer. She had to work on all the 364 days of the year except the New Year Day. Except the New Year Day. She had to work throughout the year, constantly, you see. And then she sings a song while she is working there. She has to earn her livelihood, young, helpless girl, you see. And then she says, she is very happy still, you see, because God is in heaven. The years at the spring, the year has arrived at the spring. The flowers are blooming, the birds are chirping. The years at the spring, and days at the morn. The morning has come here. Days at the morn. Morning at 7. Morning in the morning, early morning at 7 o'clock, when the light starts just coming out. Mornings at 7. The hillside with dew is pearled. So all the grasses, etc., the dew is there, and the dew is pearl. The hillside, dew pearl. The lark is on the wing, the birds are flying. She's singing a very happy song, you see. The lark on the wing. The snail on the thorn of the tree branches. The snail is creeping there. The snails on the thorn. And then she says, God is in his heaven. What we are saying? God is in heaven. And all right with the world. She is describing all those happy features. The years of the spring, the days at the morn, the mornings at the 7, the hillsides dew pearl, the last on the wing, the snails on the thorn, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Everything is all right with the world. Things are going on very happily. Although she is a girl who is suffering, and then she sings a very happy song. All is suffering here. So this is what we have here also. The voice replied, remember why they came. The mortal nature changed to divine. Open God's door, enter into his trance. When you enter into his trance, then you will really realize that all's well with the world. All the miseries, sufferings, fate, all the difficulties, they are no more there at all, you see, when you realize that. Enter into his trance. Cast thought from thee. What troubles you is thought all along. Thought, that nimble ape of light, it is keep on monkeying with you all the while. Nimble, very swift, very subtle also. That nimble ape of light, it imitates light, but it has really no light at all. Thought. Now, why is she saying? Because Savitri was thinking this way and that way. All the while, constantly, she is arguing with her. Should that happen? Should this be done? Etc. etc. With thought, she was all the while thinking. She said, no, throw away that thought completely and remain in his trance. Remain in his trance. Cast thought from thee, that nimble ape of light, in his tremendous hush, chilling thy brain. His vast truth wake within and see. It is let that truth wake within you, and then you know, and then you see things, you see. Not by thought, but when the mind has fallen silent, in its tremendous hush, stilling the brain, that is the silent mind. You live in the silent mind. That is the first gift the mother had received from Sri Aurobindo, the silent mind, on 29th March 1914. That is the first gift she had received from Sri Aurobindo, the silent mind. The moment she surrendered to him, she got the silent mind. The moment that silent mind comes, then the truth within and know and see it becomes possible what she has to do. See. Of course, Sri Aurobindo himself had realized the silent mind in 1908, maybe around 1st or 2nd January 1908 in Baroda, under the instructions of Lele. He sat with Lele for 3 days, and within 3 days he had realized the silent Brahman, the passive Brahman. Passive Brahman within 3 days. So the voice is telling, look, first silence your mind. In his tremendous hush, stilling the brain, his vast truth, wake within and know and see. Cast from the sense that weighs the spirit's side. All our senses, they are really cutting off the knowledge that comes directly from the spirit. Sense in the Indian psychology, as you have got in the Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, sense is the mind is the sixth sense. We are aware of 5 senses. Mind is the 6th sense. Ear behind ear. Eye behind eye. That is what the Upanishad says. The ear behind ear. It is the subtle ear which hears. The eye, the subtle drishti. It is that really sees. It is that which has to open out. And behind, so you have got the 5 senses. Behind the 5 senses is manasa, mind. The 6th sense is manasa. Behind manasa is what is called satjnana. Satjnana. The satjnana means the comprehending consciousness. Comprehending consciousness. So basically, it is the satjnana which gets transmitted into manasa, and manas gets transmitted into senses. Our 5 senses, you see. So basically, in fact, in the true description of things, it is satjnana which has given rise to our senses. The occult ear that hears. It is the occult ear which has produced the physical ear. We are trying to go the other way around. The occult eye which sees things. Sees things. So it is that sight which has to open out. It is that sight which comes, the comprehending consciousness, as I was telling you. Comprehending. I am seeing it here like that. Means I am throwing my eyes on this. I am saying that this is amethyst, giving a name. But what that particular stone is trying to tell me, that I don't know. What that is trying, well, I am trying to comprehend with my faculties. But there is something in the stone itself which is trying to, look, I am like this, I am this, I am this, I am this. The plants are saying, look, I can cure this disease, I can do this miracle, I can perform all those jobs, you see. What they are telling, that we don't know. That comprehending consciousness has to grasp and come out to see the objective reality of things. So we say eyes see, really we don't see at all, because we don't understand what the object is trying to tell us. Cast off from the sense that way the spirit's sight. In the enormous emptiness of thy mind, again, you see, emptiness of thy mind, thou shalt see the eternal's body in the world. Thou shalt see the eternal's body in the world. Now, this is what is going to happen to Savitri in the 6th canto of the book of Yoga, Nirvana. In the enormous emptiness, she has to empty herself out fully. Annul thyself, that only God be. Annul thyself, that only God be. Thou shalt see the eternal's body in the world. Yes, He is there everywhere. He is there. Know Him in every voice heard by thy soul. In the world's contacts, meet His single touch. All things shall fold thee into His embrace. So all the trees, plants, everybody, you see, yes, it is the embrace of God Himself in which we are living constantly. Cast from this can happen only when the senses have disappeared, when you are really awoken to the comprehending consciousness. And then with that, in the world's contacts, meet His single touch. All things shall fold thee into His embrace. Conquer thy heart's throbs. Let thy heart beat in God. Thy nature shall be the engine of His works. Thy voice shall house the mightiness of His word. Then shalt thou harbor my force and conquer death. So this is a complete recipe Savitri is given. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and the fruit of that will be, you will conquer, you will harbor my force and conquer death. So this is a recipe specific to Savitri. Why? Because she has to conquer death. That is her mission task. That is the mandate. She is charged with that mandate to conquer death. And complete prescription is given to her. 116.22 to 26. These 5 sentences, they give the complete prescription for Savitri to begin her yoga. Now, thy nature shall be the engine of His work. Conquer thy heart's beats, heart's throbs. Let thy heart beat in God. In fact, this is what we have seen earlier also in the book of Fate. This is what we have got here. Even if he seems to leave her to her lone strength, Narad is telling the queen, the last passage in the book of Fate. Even if he seems to leave her to her lone strength, even though all falters and falls and sees an end, and a heart fails, and only on death and night, God given her strength can battle against doom. God given strength can battle against doom. even on a brink where death alone seems close, and no human strength can hinder or can help. Now, already that possibility is seen that the heart fails. Even then the work will go on. Even then the work will go on, you see. In fact, that is exactly what happened in the case of the mother. It looked as though her heart had stopped. But still the work was going on. Only death and night, that is all it seems. Cast thought from thee, that nimble ape of light. And then he says, conquer thy heart's throbs. Again, let thy heart beat in God. To us it may appear that has failed, but it is not. Thy nature shall be the engine of His word. The voice shall have the mightiness of the world. Then shalt thou harbor my force and conquer death. Now, harbor my force. This is what we will see in great detail in the 5th canto, the finding of the soul. In the finding of the soul, Savitri has found her soul. She is going from room to room, etc., etc., beautiful descriptions and all that. And suddenly she meets her soul, finds her soul. With that achieved, the divine force descends into Savitri's various parts of the body, the subtle physical. All the chakras of a subtle, they get charged with the divine presence. All the 7 chakras. That is harboring my force. When Savitri has found her soul, then the divine Shakti descends into her subtle body and establishes herself in it, in the subtle body. That is harboring her force. Savitri has simply found the soul, that's not enough. It has also been charged with the divine Shakti. So the divine force through various centers descends into a subtle body. Centers have chakra after chakra. They open out and the divine presence is there all the while. When that is done, when that divine Shakti is present in the subtle body of Savitri, then she is ready to conquer death. It is the divine Shakti which alone can do, alone divine Shakti established in the physical of Savitri, subtle physical of Savitri. That is important. It is not from above, but here in this creation it has to happen, and that is what she has done. Then shalt thou harbor my force and conquer death. So after finding the soul, this has really happened. And again, when Savitri is confronting death face to face in 10th book, Canto 4, at that moment of time, the divine power, the divine Shakti, again establishes herself in Savitri. And it is that power, that Durga present in all the parts of Savitri, who now meets death and challenges him, and death disappears from the scene. So that is the conqueror of death. When Savitri has harbored that divine force in her soul, then the conquest of death becomes possible. So we have got here the complete recipe for Savitri's yoga. Remember why thou camest, find out thy soul, recover thy self, in silence seek God's meaning in thy depths. Then mortal nature change to the divine. Open God's door, enter into his trance, cast thought from thee, that nimble ape of light, in his tremendous hush stilling the brain, his master truth, wake within and know and see. Cast from thee sense that veil the spirit's sight. In the enormous emptiness of thy mind, thou shalt see the eternal's body in the world. Know him in every voice heard by thy soul. In the world's contacts meet his single touch. All things shall fold thee into his embrace. Conquer thy heart's throb, let thy heart beat in God. Thy nature shall be the engine of his works. Thy voice shall house the mightiness of his word. Then shalt thou harbor my foes and conquer death. With that begins Savitri's Yuga. Then Savitri by her doomed husband sat, still rigid in her golden, motionless pose, a statue of the fire of the inner sun. In the black night, the wrath of storm swept by. All those things are happening, terrible things around, but Savitri is not there. The thunder crashed above her, the rain hissed, its Marian footsteps pattered on the roof, on the cottage roof. Impassive mid the movement and the cry, witness of the thoughts of mind, the modes of life, she looked into herself and sought for her soul. Now the journey begins from that point onward.